basically what I've now got, what you can see on screen is basically the full work hierarchy view of one of the two plans that I've given you, that I've created. So there's two plans that are relevant for this demo: the work plan for portfolio uplift and the strategic plan. So just let's just go with the work plan for now. This contains the entire hierarchy in terms of the work. So it doesn't, it excludes certain, I'll show you, it excludes certain things like group key results, group objectives in this view. Now they're all still there behind the scenes, but just because this is effectively a work hierarchy, that's where, we're going with what's in the actual hierarchy that's going to lead down the chain to epics. Now you can see what I've got here is a group KPI leading down to a tribe KPI and a squad KPI, which itself is related to core. Now, this is one way of doing it, but this is to address the idea that epics deliver on key results and objectives, whereas core work may not at all and may only relate to supporting KPIs. Nevertheless, there is work involved in them, and that's what this represents. So if we then look at the, excuse me, I'll just collapse some of this. Let's take a look at some of the key result kind of driven work. So you can see under here we've got the initiatives, and this is the hierarchy that had been, hitherto kind of modeled, but naturally, like Carly's just said, notwithstanding the discussion that we've just had, has changed that significantly. But anyway, that's okay. So from initiatives down to tribe key results, to squad key results, and then to epics within the tribe project and containing stories and tasks. Now I can go down to subtask as well. Basically what I've done is I've fed all of this from two example tribe projects and a third strategy project. So I'll just open those up quickly. So what I'm trying to represent here is basically how multiple squads can work within a tribe across different sprint cycles and deliver to in a coordinated way with in the context of the overall plan, and how we can coordinate this with the overall release, quote unquote release, super sprint cycle, I should say. So look, here's an example of the Tribe C board. This is one where many sprints are already planned for the future and broken right out. So you got these sprint cycles for squad 1 and 2 in Tribe C are 4 weeks long, so it's a month-long sprint. So I've got 9 sprints broken out because that's basically excuse me, no, did I say month-long? Yes, 3 super sprints, that's right. So if each super sprint is a quarter, then this tribe squads basically have 3 sprints per super sprint. So that's all very conveniently broken out here with nice uniform estimates on the story points. It's all assigned to specific teams. These teams represent squads, and teams are an entity inside the advanced roadmaps. I'll show you that shortly. It's all broken down by epic membership as well. And then it's mapped to, we're using a version to represent the super sprint in this model. Now, if we look at the Tribe D board, you'll see, okay, we've got similar numbers of epics. Now, what we don't have, you can see there's a whole lot of tasks and stories all in the backlog, not yet assigned to sprints. What I've got in here too is 2 different squads operating on 2 different sprint cycles. So one with a 3-week sprint cycle, the other with a 2-week sprint cycle. And I've just forward planned only a couple of sprints for this tribe, couple of sprints for each squad, because that's going to show you how the actual the advanced roadmap will infer sprints into the future if they don't already exist. Now, I'll just collapse these to give you more of a view on the timeline. You can see how these kind of candy cane color ones, these are rolled up values that are derived from the earliest and latest dates of the issues within there. You can see also on the timeline, you can see each super sprint is effectively represented here on the timeline, leading into December. Please forgive me, I'm just using some example dates. Super sprint started on what I'm calling super sprint 1 started yesterday, or the day before, I should say, on the 21st. So, just please forgive me that it doesn't actually match your real cycle. But look, you can see within each of these, we're effectively modeling the super sprint in each tribe project as a release and in the strategy project, and we just coordinate the dates. We can go a step further and contain these within the plan in what's called the cross-project release. I'm just not sure of the value of that just yet, but I'll report back on that if it's of use. Right now, for all our intents and purposes, we're really using these as containers to represent our super sprints, and provided that they are synchronized on the date level, which only needs to be done once every 3 months, then it seems to work just fine. Okay, but check for bugs. So basically, you can see how a lot of this work in here is being inferred by advanced roadmaps, and I don't have start dates or end dates on any of these issues. I just have start dates and end dates on some of the sprints, and it does the rest. I'll just show you quickly where it does that, where it finds this stuff out and where it's defined. So if we look at teams, and see I've got my tribe C squads and tribe D squads set up here, and you can see I've just given them all a uniform velocity of 10 points for convenience and model setup, but various sprint lengths. So that's where that's handled. There's a few, I won't go into the details right now, but there's a few rules that Advanced Roadmaps uses to handle capacity and to project forward the work. I've given you guys some other views, and so if we look at super sprint breakdown, for example, and I'll just back out, you can see that in this view, it basically groups by super sprint, effectively by release. But since we're using these to represent super sprints, this is a convenient way of showing where all of the work that's involved in the super sprint 1 for tribe C, and this is for tribe D. You can see the same issues at the higher levels being repeated in the plan. That's just because they have a common parent. If we went ahead and changed this to not group by release, and we could group by none in here, then what you would see is a single hierarchy, and we'd be back down to our the other view I showed you, the work hierarchy. But I'm going to leave that there like that, because this is actually quite a handy way of visualizing it. Then if we look at, we can have a look at work by sprint. So this will show, it will break out a grouping here for every combination of sprint and team. So in other words, every sprint and squad combination, then there will be a group here, and basically it will project forward all of the sprints, and these are sprints that either have been actually defined, or they're sprints that are being inferred. And you can see here that we've got too much work allocated to this particular sprint, because we've only got a capacity of a velocity of 10 points, or a capacity of 10 points. So this gives you a hint at how the capacity planning starts to look at, and this is obviously going to tie in with a little bit of what Clayton was raising before in terms of how we track progress. In advanced roadmaps, it can do it based on issue overall status, and on so as you complete issues, it regards those as burnt down, and it can do it on issue count as well. So there's quite a lot of flexibility there. And okay, then there's basically, have I said work by squad? Okay, and here's the team view basically. So, or looking at workload by squad. And you can see here, for example, this is where we're a little bit over allocated. It's the same one before. And we can see all of these sprints projected forwards in the timeline. And you'll notice that Tribe D, Squad 1, and Tribe D Squad 2, they have different sprint lengths, but it handles all of that and plots it forward in the timeline. If we open these up, you'll see that I actually have, here, I'll go further up in the plan so you can see the bars. You'll see that what I've done is I've narrowed the scope of the issues that this displays. I'll show you where, from epic to story. So it excludes the higher up things because this is really looking at workload by squad. So you've got all of those views in there. You can also save any of these views as a new view, and then you can go ahead and find it in here, and then you can carve it up and start changing the layout, changing the view settings, and start to experiment in this way with what is giving you the most value. In the strategy project, this is where we're keeping all of the, what I'm calling grand objectives, group level things. Based on some feedback from Clayton, it makes sense that the tribe themselves would like to manage their own key results and objectives in their own projects. So I've moved them into here, but they all link up the chain across these projects. So that's kind of like the quick overview of what you've got so far. Where I'm going to go from here is I'm going to start representing some of the issued link stuff. Now that's not in the hierarchy, but that's where we're talking about things like, well, what are some of the ways we can represent or show all of the work that's been done towards this group objective, for example. But that's I'll frame up some basically some filters in Jira that gives you a sneak preview of how that would work, and some of that's obviously going to be more suited for a BI tool, but that's one of the next steps. I think where you guys would probably where you guys could probably get some value, we're able to generate more of these if you want. So we could generate you another set of tribe projects, a strategy project, and another plan. So it just depends on, how many parallel modeling exercises you guys want to go through. But one of the challenges in this now is obviously I've broken this down in a very convenient way so that you can get the overall flow and the structure and see how it all ties in. But of course, each sprint and each task itself is going to not just be 5 story, they're not all just going to be miraculously 5 story points. There's the granularity of the real world that's going to be the challenge, and that's a challenge in any work planning and tracking scenario. So seeing how that actually plays when you get some more real world examples in here, because obviously I've kept this incredibly generic to represent the model. So yeah, basically my next step would be to get you guys to get in there, have a look around, start creating some new views, see what else you can do, see what other value different ways of slicing and dicing the views could give you. And then maybe what we could do is see how I can help, or we can help slice and reconfigure the project and issue data and the squad level stuff, the sprint level stuff, to serve some of your model, some of your other models, or experimenting with those.